Hello, everybody. Welcome to another M8 Meetup. My name is Tim. I am here. I'm here with Sky, my beautiful wife, and Mikey303.
Hello.
Hello.
We are going to talk about a bunch of random stuff because we haven't done a meetup in probably 3 months. Have we done a meetup this year?
No, the last one was, I think, 6 months ago.
RIP. So we're a little behind. Haven't really planned this one out, but Mikey's in town for us getting ready for Super Booth next month. And I won't be there, but Mikey will be there.
That's right.
So, yeah, we decided to do a meetup. Anyways, we have a couple news informations. Next M8 Model 2 batch will be up and coming here probably late April. Hopefully late April, but most likely early May. Currently just waiting on the aluminum at this point to get started. And then, of course, we have Super Booth coming up in May as well, where Mikey will be in charge and leading the battle in a headphone-only booth, apparently.
That's what it sounds like.
RIP.
Yike.
So, for anybody that doesn't know, or anybody that has seen us at some of the conferences we do, M8 is one of those products that's really hard to do at a booth, is what I've decided, just because it's not something that's very approachable. If you're totally foreign to M8, you kind of need some hand-holding to be able to understand what's going on. So there's just a lot of work involved. And then this year we did Buchla and Friends, and it was headphone only, and it was even tougher without having speakers because, you know, you're talking to somebody next to you and everybody has one headphone off, you know, so they could hear each other, and it just turns into a big kind of not so fun to manage situation. But we'll do the best we can.
See, the trick is I'm going to be in a headphone only booth, but what is a headphone if not just small speakers? So speakers is just big headphone, right? So
Bring like 300 of them and crank them up.
Yeah.
So hopefully that everything will go smoothly for you. At the very least, it should save your voice. In theory, if you're not having to yell over headphones.
Yeah. In theory, we'll see.
Yeah.
Because it's still fun to yell.
So what else are we going to talk about? 6.5 firmware. A lot of you are currently using it, but I never did a meetup about it and never updated the manual yet. So we're going to go over that today as well. And then we also have to talk about the Australia thing that we recently did. Interrupt Festival.
Yes.
Which was super fun. Thank you for anybody who showed up and bought a t-shirt or bought merch from any of the artists, or, you know, just enjoyed yourself. We really appreciate it. It was kind of a throwback because a lot of us used to go to Australia for some of the chip events that used to happen down there. And it was basically put on by the same organizers of those things. So it was really great to hang out with everybody.
Yeah, that was my first time in Australia, and it was such a treat to go to both Melbourne and Sydney. I feel very happy that I was able to do that.
Same. It was a cool place, except for the drop bears.
Got to watch out for those. So yeah, I guess I should go over the 6.5 firmware real quick. I think that will at least have a quick reference before I finally get around to making the manual. Sorry for the delay on the manual. I keep forgetting to work on it. I'm working on so many things right now. Yeah. So a few of the new things here are this cool little thing in the project screen at the bottom right. If you click on this, it will enter USB drive mode and allow you to transfer files. When you do that, it will not work via USB audio or MIDI or anything. It's literally just an isolated mode for transferring files between the SD card and your computer. Long thought to not be possible until I got around to it. I'm not smart or anything. If I was smart, this would have been here a long time ago. What else? We have multi-channel USB audio. So in project system settings, there is this new USB audio mode, and it's set to stereo out. You can change this to stereo out or multi-channel, and multi-channel will send 24 tracks or 12 stereo tracks of all 8 channels plus the main output plus the 3 effects sends. So that was a once thought to not be really possible either feature. We're just stacking them up on this update. Also, USB audio was completely rewritten. It should be more reliable even if you're not using multi-channel audio, and it should be very low latency. And higher quality bit depth. Originally, it was 16-bit, and now it's 24-bit streaming. The setup here I have right now is actually using USB audio, so we'll give it a test through this meetup. And what else we got? So in the Groove screen, we have here some new things that you're seeing is this PPQ and a swing percentage. PPQ is parts per quarter note, and it's basically our tick resolution, which is 24 ticks per quarter note, right? Am I losing my mind?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and you could up this for grooves to be, so if you want like a more finer swing, you could set this all the way up to 192, and then you could do tiny little increments to do more fine-tuned swings, which is super cool. You can see there's now a swing percentage as well, just to help you out. Boop. And then we have one effects command called MTT, which is a microtime offset, which allows you to put a note in and have it shift back less than a tick even, backwards or forwards in time. So you can see right here at the bottom, it's like 1/8 a tick resolution, I guess. Yeah, so it's basically 192 PPQ resolution. So it allows you to go backwards or forwards. It won't allow you to put a backwards on the first tick. That's to avoid complications of needing to play this first step properly in the future. Those that know how to program know what I'm talking about, but those that don't, it's just more complicated to implement it on this step to go backwards, especially when you hit play. It should offset everything when you hit play. So it's better just to avoid that and call that a limitation on this. So it also doesn't work with tables currently. I don't know if there's any plan to implement it in tables, but it's just a way to nudge things on the phrase. So.
And so just because I actually don't know, does if you're doing any live recording, does it record MTT or is it just in?
It's the old delay setup. So if you record MIDI,
okay,
it'll use the delay command and not MTT. There's reasons for that. On top of everything else, there's also accuracy issues, I think. But I don't remember the technical reasons. But when somebody suggested it and I looked at it and I'm like, oh, this is a can of worms to implement this. I'm going to worry about this later or not do it. So it's just not a thing. But I don't know if you necessarily need like 1/8 tick resolution at 120 beats per minute to enter in your notes accurately. I think there's a weird use case involved in that, but I know some people will argue. I
was going to say the MPC guys would argue.
Well, the MPC guys don't even realize that the MPC has a latency of 16 milliseconds.
Uh-oh.
So shots fired. Sick burn. Okay, so moving on. I think that's all the features for 6.5. I'm not giving hate on MPC. I think it's great, by the way. So please don't hate me. So that's it for the 6.5 firmware. There's other stuff that's been improved. The delay shimmer effect command, or not effect command, the shimmer amount on reverb is a little bit it's less crunchy nowadays if you want to use it. So yeah. Any other questions on this firmware?
I'm looking. I don't see anything here, so I think we're good to go forward.
RIP. Somebody said they do RNL with MTT and fin to make small pitch and timing. People go nuts with commands, and I'm a sucker for keeping it simple. Oh, you mean it doesn't work with like these 3 random commands in a row plus a table that is an aux table plus this other? I don't know. I get lost in that stuff. So y'all are crazy.
It is cool to see all the different interactions that can be done. You know, there's so many different commands at this point. It feels like there's like an infinite combination.
I think that's it for all of the things. There's a bunch of bug fixes too. If you haven't updated to 6.5, I'd recommend doing it. Just for the USB drive mode alone, it's pretty awesome. But yeah, so we were talking before we started the stream. We were talking about EQ and how to manage that in a project. And I don't know how to actually start addressing that and introducing it to people that weren't in that conversation.
I think it started because somebody asked, how do you make your drums so punchy?
And then Mikey said vengeance samples.
Yeah, and then you were talking, sorry, I have pills in my mouth. And then you were talking about mono, having stuff mono, and I was like, you need to make space for your drums.
I got it.
With EQ.
Cool, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm going to show you guys. So we have a thing, in case nobody knows about, called Weekly Beats. That started in 2012, I think. Yeah, started in 2012, and it's where artists create a song once a week for the entire year. We do it every other year, basically every even year. So it being 2026, we started at the beginning of this year. I've only submitted maybe 6 or 8 songs myself, even though we're like probably week 16 or 17 or 20 something in at this point. I'm planning on joining again soon enough, but if you want more information on that, go to weeklybeats.com. We always welcome people to start late. You didn't have to start at the beginning of the year. It's more of a challenge to yourself than anything. So I released a bunch of tracks for M8 specifically, and I also posted the bundles to those songs. So if you go to weeklybeats.com/trash80 and click on any of the stuff for 2026, you'll also get a link to the bundle. I was planning on going over some of those bundles in this meetup just because it's a nice way to fill some space, and there's probably some tricks in there that might be useful. I'm not sure, but I was playing back one of the tracks, and then somebody asked a question about kick drums being punchy, and then Mikey and I went into like details about using EQ. So maybe I should just show some of those songs. So if you want, you could go on weeklybeats.com and download those bundles, because they're all available. I don't know which track I should show to go over this. This is my Weekly Beats folder, by the way.
What about the one that was playing?
I think it was Shotgun. Yeah. Let me just check the instrument table. Yeah, this one has a lot of it. So I'm going to play some of the music from this just to give you a sense of what's going on. All right, you get the idea. So all of my weekly beats this year have been kind of cyberpunk themed, and I've been kind of abusing the OTT feature in all of them, which means when I started writing these songs, I always had OTT basically cranked to 80. You can see it's set 70 right here, but over the top will basically just bring up all of the mid and high end to the forefront. And so when I was composing the song, I had it with basically OTT in full blast. So the composition kind of relies on OTT being there. So it works together with it well, as opposed to adding it after the fact, where you'd want to maybe just add a little bit of OTT. So if you download any of these bundles, you'll realize that the OTT is just cranked to a ridiculous number. But we'll see here. Let's play this one. So I'm using the crap out of the EQs on all of these instruments, which I don't, let's see. See if any of these use it. The point was that a lot of the times in a lot of my EQs, for instance, I do a lot of low-end roll-offs. If I start browsing through some of these that are used, you'll see that most of them do a lot of low-end roll-off. And that's because I'm making room for the kick drum and making room for the bass synth stuff. And a lot of the time, I'll also do this thing where I'm trying to find an example here, which I'm sure there is right here, where I did a low cut on the low end with a frequency of 560, so around 500 hertz. It basically cuts off all the low end, but it only does it to the side, which means the normal mode is stereo, where this EQ band will affect basically everything you're hearing. But you could also change it to mid, where it'll only affect the stuff that is mono in that sound, or you could change it to side, which will only affect the stuff that's actually stereo spread. And a lot of times when you're using something like hypersynth, where it's got that width parameter that could spread the sound, super stereo across the entire frequency range, you'll want to get rid of the low end stereo spread. And how you could do that is just having it stereo and doing a low cut. But the problem with that is if it's a bass synth, you're going to lose all your bass by doing this low cut. So instead I set it to side, so that way anything that's stereo wide will get monoed, and we don't have stereo bass going on, because stereo bass basically makes bass less punchy, because in physical speakers they'll be fighting each other and causing phase cancellation and all sorts of junk. So I think it's really important to kind of utilize the EQ on a lot of this stuff to just make the low end more punchy. So I think for me, it's a combination of using that EQ and also using the crap out of OTT and the limiter to really bring stuff up and make stuff bounce around. I also do a lot of this, which this is a trig envelope. I'm sure this track 6 is probably where all the kick drums are. So I'm gating most of the synths that are happening to the kick drum. So whenever the kick drum kicks, everything is, ducked out of the way for the kick drum. And I could show you an example of the stereo, the EQ thing, which is if I do a hypersynth, I set the swarm to some value, set the width to full stereo. We have this beautiful sounding note. Let me just tame it a little bit. You can see even the bass is stereo right now, which is not a good thing. And to highlight the bass, I'm going to enable low pass filter just so you could only hear the low end and not the high end stuff. And then I'll do that EQ trick I was talking about, where I do the side. And a lot of people do this in DAWs too. This is an M8 thing specifically. Just translates well. So I'm doing a low cut on the side. If I bring this all the way up, you can see the signal just went to mono, essentially. But I'm going to set it somewhere reasonable and maybe not as hard of a knee. So maybe something like that. But when I bring this up, you'll hear that everything is still stereo except for that low end. And that's how you get the kind of really big sounds, I think, is by utilizing giving room to things to play in their frequency ranges is really important.
Yeah, it's definitely a great technique, particularly for hypersynth, again, because hypersynth can be so wide, and with all those oscillators, there's so much going on. So it really does clean it up.
Was there anything interesting in this song to actually show? You see, even when I stop it, like the delay is just going nuts on this track. So a lot of these tracks, I also utilize a thing that makes things sound more analog, which is a lot of my synths in here will utilize the limiter modes, either going to be W3, post W3 for harder distortion, or post AD for light kind of overdriving distortion, just to give it a little bit of character. And then I'll also use error on my tables a bunch. And what this does is kind of make the pitches a little bit more random and interesting, and especially when you're dealing with chords and intervals and that kind of stuff, it gives everything a little bit of character instead of being straight on pitch. And you heard a lot of that in this, because this is really heavy in this this bridge where that synth just sounds kind of out of tune and clunky. But if I turn down error, or turn it up a lot. I fixed this song finally.
Great. It's got extra flavor. Too much flavor.
But yeah, if anybody downloads my bundles, you'll see I also tend to use the ZDF filters, only because they tend to have less resonance than the original M8 low pass filter. And a lot of times, to me, that's kind of more of a vintage character, is to have actually less resonance, like a really simple 2-pole low pass filter. Kind of just has a certain character to it. Yeah, I don't know how else to explain that, but it just sounds nicer to me. Except for when you use a really heavy error.
Someone asked a good question about this. They noticed that your mix volume is pretty loud. Do you feel like that affects the fidelity in any way?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I totally clip the crap out of this stuff. The bottom line is I don't really care about how it sounds, as long as it... Again, I was going for kind of a cyberpunk aesthetic on these tracks, which was, to me, kind of more grimy. So I wanted to do some clipping. But generally speaking, running into the red isn't necessarily a bad thing. And let me show you. So you don't really hear it clipping too bad right now. And that's because if I click on this and then I zoom in, and change the zoom to really high here. So we're going to be able to see like what is actually going past 0 here. And I mostly, well, in this song it's a bad example, but I'm mostly clipping the transient spikes that happen in the audio file. I'm basically turning the audio file into a sausage, which just makes it huge sounding. So that was very much the intention, to clip off the transient spikes. For those that have ever looked at wave files after they're generated from whatever hardware you use or software, you'll see those large spikes that really don't add any character necessarily. It depends on the style of music, but in this case, I wanted to clip those things off, those high peaks that are just there momentarily, just to give everything else more room. This song was a bad example because I literally, I think I just smashed it up against the wall. But if I turn down the volume, you could see, by zoomed in, you could see what's actually clipping here. And it's just like these transient peaks from the bass drum mostly. which I don't really care about those necessarily because I want everything else to be louder. I don't want these tiny little spikes to take up most of the dynamic range. So I don't know if that answers the question. Another thing I'll end up doing too sometimes is use turn on soft clipping if you kind of want that warmer distortion sound when it starts overdriving.
Yeah, it sounds so good. Yeah.
You can hear it like when I tap soft clipping off, you kind of don't really hear it clipping necessarily, but when I turn it on, you'll hear this kind of like flutter effect that happens. I think soft clipping sounds really nice when you're working on a minimal track where you maybe just have like a kick and a bass and some snares or whatever, when it's not a very heavy track in terms of instrumentation going on. Like it'll really bring up that nice kind of punchy overdrive.
It always kind of reminds me of when you're like in your car and someone pulls up to you at a traffic light and they just have their car like bass all the way cranked and there's just this
it's just
massive
rattling all those screws.
That to me is like the organic version of soft clipping is just the resonant frequency of their like car trunk.
All their
rules.
Plastic panels rattling.
I absolutely love it. And soft clipping to me is doing that, but in the audio realm, the digital realm.
It's like distortion, right?
Yeah.
Distortion pedal on a guitar.
All those harmonics.
It could be terrible or it could be great.
Exactly.
I think I showed when I was implementing soft clip, I was utilizing the Dirtywave. This isn't a plug, but the Dirtywave synth drum actually has some demo songs in here. And I think one of these demo tracks is pretty good at doing no, it is demo 2. Demonstrating what the soft clip sounds like. So we'll take that line here. So this is soft clipping off. And that's it with it on. And you can really hear that kind of fluttering effect on that kick drum. Yeah, or a sizzle.
Yeah.
It sounds warmer and more analog. No, I'm joking.
Sounds like it's on fire a little bit.
So let me go back to my look at how disorganized my songs folder is. Half this stuff isn't even songs. Okay, let's see, where was I? Weekly Beats, 2026. Just finding a song that might be interesting. These all sound the same when you play them back together.
Hanako is pretty good. Got a lot of stuff going on in that one.
Yeah. So Hanako again is one of those that's probably massively clipped. I don't even think. Oh, I do use soft clip in this one. Hey, that's relative. Yeah, so one of the things because again, I was trying to do a cyberpunky thing, most of the tracks I tried to add some atmosphere, and atmosphere to me was like, I need stuff that's kind of baked in reverb a little bit. I need like background elements, and this is a good example. Background elements is this noise. It's literally just the wave synth noise, but it kind of has this breathing effect. But I wanted everything to have like kind of a textury, grainy sound across the board. So I think let's just hyper sound. And I wanted a lot of stuff going on, so I like, it's almost like when you're making synths, instead of doing sound design for synthesis, you might instead of doing it for melody, maybe do it for just sound effects, and then they happen to have some melody that fits within the scale, and that's what's kind of going on here. There's just a bass line and a couple random synths that sound kind of computery, glitchy sounds, but they're all playing some sort of melody. But it sounds really full, even though like in that first part, it's literally just a kick and that bass synth. And I think a lot of I think OTT is doing most of the work here. It's not really magic in this. But yeah, I don't know if there's that many tricks in this one, but oh, there's definitely a trick. So I'm gonna fast forward to a bridge here real quick. Right here, I programmed the reverb to be completely mono because I wanted like a sucked in effect. So everything, it was wide, super wide stereo spread. Now it just went to center. And I was just utilizing the reverb effects commands to bring it all center. But over time, I'm slowly widening it up. Yeah.
You're manipulating space.
Yeah, I think that's what, like, I don't know. It took me forever to finally play that Cyberpunk 2077. Like, I finally started playing it right when Weekly Beats was about to start. Because I guess I'm like 5 or 7 years too late. I don't know. But I was like, oh, there's like, I love, it's kind of, this is so nerdy. But it reminds me of like old Star Wars, not the 2000s version of Star Wars, but the old ones where everything's kind of dirty and gritty and has like layers to it. When I was playing that game, I realized like you could do a lot in sound design in terms of making things gritty and adding layers, and that's kind of what inspired me to kind of go down this path of, well, I wonder if I could do some of the stuff on the M8. So, but I tried to have a lot of stuff have sizzle and texture kind of going on in the background. I don't think it's that great necessarily. Like, I know there's a lot of people that could do better, but I thought it was cool regardless. And you could download the bundles on the Weekly Beats website.
Isn't everything in that track like made on the M8 too, aside from like a kick maybe?
Oh yeah, it's mostly synths. Yeah, it's mostly synths, and then the drums are samples. Obviously, these 4 samples. Yeah.
OTT. I want to hear one of these without OTT.
One of the samples or one of the tracks?
The tracks without OTT.
I mean, I could turn off the...
I'm just curious what
no
it's...
OTT, no.
A little small.
Yeah, it's kind of... It's subtle, I guess, when everything's going full blast. I think where OTT really lends itself is when there's...
There's like space.
When there's very little... Yeah, when there's a lot more space in the music. That tail though is hilarious.
Yeah, it just keeps going.
Someone said no TT. It's good.
Yeah. I think that's it, unless I have something else that might be interesting. I really liked... I wanted to do... On this track, I wanted to do something that sounded like polyphony, and that's a hard thing to do on M8. And on this track, right now, this melody is using 3 tracks to play that melody. How I did that juggling between 3 tracks to play the 3 lines is it was originally just 1 track with the lines in there, and then I broke them out into 3 tracks. That to me is like the easiest way to do Polyphony is I write it all on one and then spread it if it's not a chord. Check this out. The cursor on this track is lagging behind. That was intentional to offset the note line. I don't know if you'll see it here or not.
I've been watching your tempo go from 91 to 94 over and over again.
It's lagging in front, yeah.
Now it's going way up.
Okay, so on this track, this is the lead line. Couple interesting things going on here. You can see how wobbly it's going, and I think that is the air that's doing that, if I'm not mistaken. It could also be this LFO to pitch. Oh, it's this boy right here. So this is a cool thing with the air. When you have table tick FF, the like super fast table, like if I delete this hop, you'll see it's just going crazy. But it's just constantly reapplying air very, very quickly, and it has a really cool sound to it. Like almost a broken sound, so I just gently had that in there. The other interesting thing is on this chain right here at the very bottom, I did a delay step. Oh, I see. That's what I did. I did a hop here. So this track is now whatever ticks offset. And the reason why is because the lead, I wanted those swells to happen at a particular time, and I just kept offsetting the track until it worked, which normally would be a problem. But then right here, somewhere buried, I probably have a RMX effect command that resyncs this playhead. Somewhere in here, I'm sure I have it, but let me see if I can find it. This is a hunt. OTT amount. No, I don't. So maybe it's on this line before the main hit. Oops. Let's see. No, I don't know. I don't know where I'm doing it, but it's magic. So if you watched this line, you could rewind on YouTube or whatever, but this line was playing, it looked like a head of everything else to kind of allow those swells to come in early, essentially. And then somewhere around here, I lock that playhead back in, so it snaps back to being where it's supposed to be. It's somewhere here, I know. But where? That's the question. I haven't looked at these songs since I was working on my live set, so I have no idea where it might be. I should have flagged it with a bookmark. That's what I should have did. Technically, what I should have done is went over these songs before this meetup, so I knew what I was going to talk about.
You should just add a search function built right into the M8.
Yeah, please.
Stop. Wonder if there's anything else interesting going on. The song's too slow.
Speed it up.
We've got tempo nudge.
180.
Yeah, you get the idea. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it. What I would also kind of like to show you is some of these songs in my live set and what I did to them to play them, quote unquote, live, because, well, A, I didn't have much time to prepare my set, and B, it's electronic music. How live are we going to be? But let's see. So that's like, I have in my M8, I have a weekly beats folder where I store the weekly beats I'm working on or whatever by week. So this is week 1, etc. But then I also have my live folder, and this kind of changes every live set I do. I'll end up creating a new live set folder, backing up everything, creating a new live set folder, copying in the songs that I want to use, either as bundles or not, depending on how my SD card's arranged. But then I number them and then do a directory sort on my computer. So that way, when I'm doing a live set, all of what the tracks I'm going to play are kind of in order, just so I don't have to mess around on stage and figure out what to play next. But if I look at some of these, there's a few cool tricks I learned. One of them is a lot of these songs were in different scales, but I wanted to blend the elements so that way they would mix. If I want to transition one song to another, and they're in different keys, what I would do is find a relative key between the songs, and then use transpose as well as scale at the same time. And how I did that is I forget, but let's see, that was FD, right? So -3. And so I would go up 2 or up 3 scales and then -3 on the transpose, and then it would magically be in the right key for the song, for the given song. Which is why in this live version, there's a transpose and the scale is different than what the original one was done in. I'll show you why in a second. Another thing you see here in the song is I broke up the song into sections, which is not in the real song. As well as I sped up the songs because they're a little bit too slow for live use. But yeah, Mikey, as you pointed out, like on a lot of these tracks, I'll mess with the tempo. You can see the tempo's kind of going crazy right now.
It's cool.
It's like, when you're playing on piano or synth or whatever, you do that naturally. So, and you could use a groove to do it, but for me, a lot of the times it's easier just to play with the tempo a little bit.
Quantization is not natural.
Exactly. So I'm gonna skip to the end here. Let's see. I could start here. I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna load up the next song just so you can see this. Oops. Load. So the next song's queued. So at the end of this break here, it'll go into the next song, and hopefully it'll still sound okay. And the songs agree with each other in terms of pitch because I did transposes to make it work. I like to break up my songs, by the way, because I like to trigger stuff live. So if I mess up, I break the live set. So I feel like I know what I'm doing. So I feel like I'm doing something on stage, essentially. Another thing I'll do is like add filters and stuff, or the beat repeat feature as well. Everybody has their own way of doing live sets. I went over my live set in a previous meetup that we did. Let me switch my camera so you can see this. This is my Ableton Move running Move Anything, but I customized it a little bit for my use case, which is this scroll wheel here jogs the song up and down. When I hit play, it'll play like normal. And then this is always beat repeat. And then these are my mutes over here. And then these 8 are for enabling or disable the beat repeat for this side. And then I have all of the, CCs here. It's another neat trick right here, by the way. I don't know if I ever showed you this. But you hear that like phaser effect. That is, if I switch screens, that is on the EQ. So that's just an EQ mapping to do that. that effect. But yeah, you kind of get the idea of what I do on my live sets. You mute, unmute, have the beat repeat, have some filter assigned on the MIDI CCs. The other thing I did is when I'm like, say I'm doing like this kind of thing, if I click, you can't see it in the camera, but there's a big knob here. If I click this, it resets all of the knobs back to their default states. So I can kind of go ham and then, hit this on the beat to do the drop in. You see how it's like looping a bad section right now. So if I mess up my song, it's because I hit the button at the wrong time. I just kind of like that because that way I can mess up, and I feel like if I can mess up, then I'm doing something up there. So my sets are all about baking in ways that I can mess up my set. So I don't know if there's anything else worthwhile to go over. I'm not sure if this song has a transition or not. I don't think it does. No, it doesn't. So some of the tracks I decided to have a break in between transitions. I like to do transitions when I can, but otherwise I'll totally break between songs, kind of mixing it up. But yeah, there we go. I don't know if anybody has any weird questions for me personally, or if Mikey has something to add. Mikey's live sets are completely different than mine, by the way.
Yeah, I think I went over it once. I think on stream, but my audio was not that great. I think it was before I got my new mic setup. I think it was after that one where you were like, "Dude, you need to fix your mic setup." So I spent a bunch of time fixing it. But yeah, mine's completely different. I use two M8s. And it's sort of very inefficient, but before we had the M8 tracker, or before I had the M8 tracker, I was doing Game Boy tracker stuff on LSDJ, and LSDJ does not have seamless loading, believe it or not. And so you would use two Game Boys, to go back and forth, so you're able to kind of bounce between songs as seamlessly as possible. And I never used it synced or anything, and it was just sort of force of habit that I ended up doing the exact same configuration with the M8s. So don't follow my lead. It's inefficient, and there's so much better ways to go about doing it.
I think your way is pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Where you have two M8s and a DJ mixer.
Yeah, I sort of work them like DJ decks.
Yeah.
And they're not synced, just like vinyl, so I'm legit.
But you could sync them,
Yeah, of course I could, but you know what? It's more fun that way. I kind of like that.
So you're baking in your own mistakes,
just
like me.
just like you. I kind of I like having them kind of unsynced. It's nice to know that it's not all perfectly automated. That that there's like a person that's up there screwing it up and having an anxiety attack because they screwed it up.
That's how you know it's real music.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure one Australian show, I think it was Silodux, somebody was like, "Oh, I really like that 5/4 track you played."
Oh yeah.
And it was just because I misfired. Back then I was using Ableton. So there was I like punching stuff on the one because it's really rewarding to do that, but you're kind of living on the edge, and especially if you're using a laptop where you have to worry about latency. So I was in this awkward stage of I can't push it. I can't press the next thing on the one because if I do, I have my snapping set to quarter note. So if I mess up or if the latency isn't perfect, there's going to be one extra quarter note on that measure. So, but I definitely like doing as much as I can live, and that I like the fact that everybody has their own methods. Yeah, I think it's good that you do it your way.
Yeah, I hit play and spend an obscene amount of time in the studio and justify it emotionally that way.
Sometimes you just have to stand on stage and cry in front of everyone, and everyone loves it.
Yeah.
That I think that's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I mentioned once I had this ethos way back in the day where it was well, if it's not live, what are you doing on stage, And it was it was the 20-year-old me saying that, Whereas the now year old me is like, every artist has their own way of expressing what they want to do on stage, and everybody is also learning. And however anybody wants to do their set, like the more the merrier. And I just like that there's so many options to do it. Whether or not it's M8 or an octatrack or a guitar or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's up to the artist to really do that. So you pressing play is totally valid.
Thank you for the validation.
You're welcome.
I do what I want.
You do what you want.
I'm an adult.
All right. So somebody else asked a question about why I was doing transpose, and the reason being is because if I'm doing transitions between two different songs, I have two different key signatures. They might sound awful together, but if they're like, one transpose step away from being in the same key or close enough, I like to use the circle of fifths sometimes to figure out how far away things are from each other. And then if they're relative to each other by a fifth, then that, there's some elements I could bring into the song that won't actually sound bad. And you could kind of figure out how you want to blend your songs together that way. That's only if you're interested in blending the songs as you're performing. But the trick I learned on this live set is all the songs I wrote for Weekly Beat use the scale feature just to keep everything in the scale of whatever scale it was in. So I couldn't necessarily use transpose correctly because transpose would just transpose the notes in the same scale. So I had to move the scale, I have to move the scale up 2 notes. But then if I move the transpose down 2 notes, then it makes up the difference and everything's in the same scale. So I hope that answers that question.
That's good.
So yeah, maybe we should move on.
Yeah, what's next? What do we not cover?
What's on my thing? Interrupt Festival, we covered that. Weekly Beats tracks did that. Bundles, I guess, is up next.
Oh, it's bundle time?
It might be bundle time.
How exciting. So, while we get this set up, I believe we have about 30 submissions. So, and it was split down the middle between first timers and returning submissions. So we'll, as usual, we try to start with the people who this is their first time submitting a track. Give them a chance to be heard and see what new ideas are being done on the M8. It's always very exciting. It usually comes in waves too, like between batches, it'll be a few months and then those people will spend their time working on stuff. So you'll get people who maybe it's their first song that they finished, or people who are still learning and they just want to kind of showcase. And it's always cool to see what everyone is doing now. And then so I'm looking forward to all the new submissions. I think I'd have to look at the old submissions, but I think this is the most first time submissions that we've had for a meetup. So that's really cool.
Side note, did I mention the next batch shipments? I think I did, right?
You did earlier, but just to reiterate, you're shooting for the end of April, but most likely early May.
Yeah. We're waiting on a couple parts, but we have almost everything to get start assembly. So be on the lookout, because as soon as I have a definitive date, we'll be posting it on the Discord, and I'll be sending out an emailer. So yeah. Let's do some bundles.
It's bundle time. I gotta get the browser out so I can see. I don't
know what order these are in, by the way. I think they're just kind of random.
I think they're either random or in. It's just whatever order it loaded onto your SD card, I think. Because I think I sorted them by alphabetically, but hey, whatever works.
Somebody asked if I was going to do the randomizer thing. Wasn't it a song file that I made that did that?
It was, yeah. Yeah, do you still have it?
It's in one of the Meetup folders.
It's so much fun.
I think it was like in the Meetup folder. So all you had to do is hit play, and it would just press the up and down arrow keys.
It worked. It was great. It was such a treat.
Yeah, we're not doing that this time. We're just going down the list. But I think this first one is Territories.
Yeah, Territoires with guilt. And I know I know this person, and it's guilt flower, not flower.
Okay, I was totally going to mess that up.
Yeah, it's
Thank
okay.
you.
I saved the day.
It was awesome. Thanks so much for submitting your bundle. And thank you, everybody else. We have a lot to go through. So coming up next, I'm going to butcher this.
Oh, you want me to do it?
Yes, please.
I'm looking for it on the. Sorry. Next up, we have LP8 by Kris Gelero.
All right. That was awesome. I don't know what was going on, but I love the. Do you call that like a polyrhythm or?
I don't know. It was
The
cool.
synchronization?
It sounded
Yeah.
drunk. That's
Yeah.
all I could describe it as.
Sounded great. Should I lose changes to current song?
What did you do?
I have no idea.
Maybe it was a different version. Next up, we have Manipurexpress by Kaaareeegar.
All right. That was awesome. Love the non-linear playback method going on here. Kept me on edge.
Next up, we have Club Dread by No Touchy.
Thank you so much for submitting your bundle. Sorry if I stopped it early. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to or not, but thank you so much. It sounded great. Again, I don't know how you guys do these awesome kind of non-linear things going on with the sequences, but it's pretty great. Again, thanks everybody for submitting your bundles.
Next up, we got 013 by Linus.
Awesome. That was like footwork, right?
It was very footworky.
So I'm just a total noob to this genre, but that was amazing. So
Anytime I see someone, anytime I see a track that's going to be 160, I know it's going to be good. This is just further proof.
Next up, we got Tranq Wars by Sleep Underwriter.
Awesome.
Yeehaw.
That was good fun. Again, I love the pads on that. That was crazy.
Next up, we have Waste Heat by Bretodeau.
Wow. I love the textures in that. That's super great. Thank you.
Next up, we got Galere by NN Audio Vandal.
This is great. I love the articulations on the bass guitar.
I like the little tiny crunchy hand clap. It sounded like a very tiny crocodile.
Tiny crocodile. Next up, we have Future Tripping by Princent Vice.
Awesome. Thank you so much for submitting your bundle.
Next up, we have Transit Delay by Murz.
Was great.
Next up we have Scarletumber by Reasonbeat.
That was great. Thank you again, everybody, for submitting your bundles.
Next up, we got India Underwater by Evan Erickson.
Whoa.
That was India Underwater by Evan Erickson Music. Next up, we have Coyoye by Fex.
It's great.
Thank you for sharing. Up next, we have Whatever by OHxSSSNAP.
To me, nobody's there. So who am I seeing when I'm in your stare? If nobody's there, nobody's there. Believe me, 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 make me believe it was all in my head. You're lying right next to me, nobody's there. Nobody's there, nobody's there. Make me believe it was all in my head. You're lying right next to me, nobody's there. So who am I seeing when I'm in your stare? If nobody's there, nobody's there. When I'm in your stare. When I'm in your stare. If I'm in your stare. When I'm in your stare. If nobody's there. Made me believe it was all in my head. You're lying right next to me, nobody's there. So who am I seeing when I'm in your stare? If nobody's there, nobody's there. Made me believe it was all in my head. You're lying right next to me, nobody's there. So who am I seeing when I'm in your stare? If nobody's there, nobody's there. When I'm in your stare. When I'm in your stare. If I'm in your stare. When I'm in your stare. If nobody's there.
Awesome.
Thank you, everyone. So I think that was the last of all the first timers. So now we're going to go back into our returning champs.
Returning champs.
Yeah.
Is this like a karate competition or something?
Solmare, I'm sorry, I typoed your name when I was typing out all the artist names. I'm so sorry. But up first is Second Soldier by Solmare, not Solmare.
was great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Once again, that was Second Soldier by Solmare. And up next is, I believe it was Mai Jamas with Oui.
That was great.
Thank you, Mai Jamas. So this next one is by Dustsucker. The song is called Ghostwriter, and there are special instructions to not touch the M8.
Oh, I'm going to touch the M8.
It has internal
You
MIDI
can't tell me what to
shenanigans.
do. Apparently it takes control of the keys, so I'm not allowed to do anything other than hit play. Can I just hit play from the file browser?
Probably.
One sleepless night, I asked an AI to write a song for me. The lyrics were raw, personal, and perfectly aligned with my deepest emotions. The melody tugged at my heartstrings. Each chord sent chills down my spine. People were amazed and praised me like never before. But I didn't dare to tell them the truth. I asked the AI to write another song, and another, and another. The hooks wedged in my brain. The melodies wormed in my ear. They kept playing non-stop in my head. One day, the AI was offline. Yet I needed more, so I traced the host to an abandoned house. Inside, I found a preserved music room and a photo of a musician who had died in a mysterious fire. Local legend says they were portrayed by a famous artist who stole their work. Ghosts.
Oh my god. That was amazing. So for those that don't know, you could control the keys using MIDI, and somebody just went way overboard controlling internal MIDI to control the keys, and that was chaos. That was amazing. Wow. Almost want to play it again.
We're gonna move forward. We've got The Way Up with Spring.
Hopefully my M8 isn't hacked now.
It's too late for you, I'm afraid.
This is beautiful.
Thank you for sharing. Up next is, I can't read that name, but it's probably
we're not going to play that one.
Yeah, you can skip that one. It's it's song I'm working on. It's not done yet. So just enjoy for what it is. It's called Heavy Light.
All right. Thank you, Mikey. That was wonderful.
Thank you for listening.
Did you like my fade out?
It was actually really nice.
Oh, thank you. How many more do we have? Oh,
Yeah, we're a little over halfway done.
yay.
Up next we have Trass by Pattern Juggler.
was great.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so relaxed now.
Tim just opened the windows, so I got to listen to that with the breeze.
I don't know why I didn't open them sooner.
The song is called End of Tomorrow. I don't know why the folder didn't get renamed. I could have swore I've done it, but it's by Dinosawer, and it's called The End of Tomorrow.
That was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. That again was End of Tomorrow
by Dinosaur.
There we go.
And this one, the file name is really long, so I have to look it up on the spreadsheet to read the name. It's by nnonick, and it's called Go Off the Rails, Sea Will Calm Down.
That was awesome. Thank you so much for submitting that track. Who was that, Mikey?
That was nnonick, and the song name is, when I pull it up and look at the spreadsheet,
We got our stuff together today.
the song is called "Go Off the Rails." Sea will calm down. And then up next, it's looking like, if I click back to the screen, it says Tyriann, Vex.
Wow.
That was Vex by Tyriann.
So we can skip this one. Sorry, I realized why the name was, the folder was all messed up because I accidentally duplicated it. So.
Oh, so we're playing this one again, right?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it was good.
Okay.
Next up, we have Drumma by Hex Tulpa.
Was great.
That was Drumma by Hex Tulpa. Next up, we have Lithobreaker by Atala.
That was wonderful.
That was Lithobreaker by Atalia. Next up we have Altamar by Robot Meadows.
Was awesome.
That was Altamar by Robot Meadows, and I am trying not to sneeze right now. Last song of the night, we have Brave Hot Dog by Nikki Pie.
That was great.
That's it for today. Everybody, thank you for submitting all these wonderful bundles.
And as a reminder, these are all community submitted bundles from users on our Discord and elsewhere. Some, not all, but some of the users have offered to make their bundles available for download to check out. Keep an eye out in our resources section, and I will post those when I have some time to go through it all. Same with the video. The video will be up in the future once, probably in the next coming week or so.
After everything's like tagged correctly.
Yeah,
and,
I go through and I do all the video tagging and stuff, so it'll be up then.
But, if we did these meetups more often, there would be less, bundles instead of going 400 bundles because we haven't done it in 6 months.
Yeah, maybe it should be incentive to do it more often. Or maybe just people submit all the time, and so we have 400 bundles every time. Anyway.
Prove me wrong!
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we should be doing this more often. Our schedules just haven't been lining up. But maybe we'll talk about it more soon enough. But I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. Thank you for submitting your bundles, and thank you for joining us on another M8 Discord meetup. Y'all have a rest of have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you on the Wired.
Wired?
Yeah, it's a Lane reference.
What? Where am I?
The Matrix.
Uh...
All right, everybody have a good weekend. Talk to you soon.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
Bye.